Everybody, how's it going? So I'll just take you through these contracts real quick. So the first one we're going to deploy really is our factory contracts. So we have a factory for each component of the DAO. So this is our NFT contract, and we'll just deploy that first. That'll be member card factory. And yeah, this might take a while, so I might skim through it a little bit just because the network is a little slow. But yeah, essentially we just deploy these factory contracts. The next one we're going to deploy is our DAO factory, and this is basically the contract where all the voting happens. And so we'll just deploy this real quick. I'll just set it to high so we push these transactions through fast. And then the final contract we're going to deploy is the Vault Factory, and this is basically your staking contract. And I will also, make this a quick transaction. Okay, so now that we've done that, we can go to our social bank core, and this is basically the register contract where we just deploy all these DAO, all these component parts of the DAO from, and we track it with an ID so that we can easily fetch it for the front end part. And yeah, as you can see, it just takes all of these contracts we just deployed. So the member card factory, the DAO factory, and then the DAO vault. And that is basically how we deploy the social bank core. It just takes those three contracts to initialize them, and then yeah, that's about it. When we get into the contract itself, this is the contract. As you can see, we really only have one function we interact with, and that's create DAO. So I'll just create one really quickly. So I'll call it test. I'll set the URI to test, and then it takes a token. This is the token that we want to stake in, and I can put all of these addresses in a Word doc so they're easily accessible. We're going to be staking in USDC. Then we want the Aave earn token. We want that as a parameter as well. And then we want the Aave lending pool that we'll be working with, and it'll be this address right there. And then we need one final contract, which I forgot to deploy, which is our Uniswap swap contract. So I'll just deploy that really quickly. And this is basically our Uniswap hookup so that we can convert, if the user wants, they can convert their earnings into WETH. And I'll just deploy that really fast. All right, and as you can see, we have the swap contract right down here. I'll just copy that, put that in, set the max supply to 10. That's the amount that you can mint before, there's a limit. And then I'll just set the min stake to 1 USDC. And yeah, that's it. And once we create this, we've created our DAO. And it's a little pricey, but I'm trying to push these through fast. And once and now we have our DAO. And now if you want, we have a ton of different getter functions right here. I didn't know which one was the best one to use, but you can essentially get all the addresses by just simply going to this function right here, get DAOs by ID. And you can get all the addresses that way, or you can get all DAOs by the address that deployed them. So whichever user deployed them, you can also get all the DAOs by that way as well. Hey everyone, so now that I showed you the social bank core, I'm just going to briefly walk through the staking contract, the DAO Vault contract, and basically how you stake and interact with the protocol. And then after this, I'll just go through the DAO and show you how that works briefly as well. So basically what we do first is if we open up our DAO contract here, and again, I just brought these up, after the deployment, just to kind of show you an example of how these all work together. But the first thing that you'll do as a user is you will stake the amount required in USDC. Now, before you can do that, this contract we have to call an approval on this contract from the from USDC C coin, and this will have to be done on the front end. So you basically take the address of the contract, you write a kind of an approval amount, how much you want to allow in the DAO. USDC has 6 decimals, so this is 1 USDC. We'll just confirm that. Okay, now that it's confirmed, we go down here and we'll just select, right now I have, let's just check my wallet. I have 3 USDC, so I'll just stake 1, which is the minimum amount required for this, for the way we set this up, if you remember. And I will just push this through in terms of gas prices. And yeah, I should be able to stake an Aave, and I've staked, and now I have my NFT. And if we go to OpenSea, I'll do that in a minute. So this is my profile on OpenSea, and you can see we just minted an NFT called Test. And yeah, we minted this 37 seconds ago. So yeah, there you go. Now if we want to unstake, we would just put in our token ID again, and we would, our token ID for an example is 0. We would press transact, and then our NFT would get burned. It would no longer exist, and we would get our stake back. But instead of doing that, I'm just going to show you this really quickly, since I don't have time to set up the DAO, about how we essentially can harvest yield. So right here, I have this function called harvest yield test. Again, for the with the DAO, we're going to be using a more automated version. We have it's called auto payout, but I can't use that without the DAO functioning. So I'm just going to use harvest yield test, and for that, we'll put in our account. And yeah, this is what my account is right now. We'll put in my account. We will press false if we want to receive it back in USDC. And again, this is basically if a proposal goes through and you get your funds, this is essentially what will happen. You'll be awarded the yield. If we press true, if we press false, we get it in USDC. If we press true, we'll get it in WETH. So we'll do true for this, and then we'll transact. And hopefully we'll get some WETH in our wallet at the end of this. Okay, so it looks like our swap was successful. And let's see if we can add our WETH token. As you can see, we have the contract interaction right there. And now let's see if we received our stake back in our token of choice. So to get the WETH contract, I'm just gonna go to our swap real quick. And I'm just gonna grab it from here. And sometimes it takes a while to actually show up in the wallet. And yeah, as you can see, we have a little bit of WETH that was just imported into our wallet from the swap. So we successfully were able to swap our USDC to WETH when we wanted to do that. I'm not going to do it right now because it's really late, but tomorrow I'm going to do the last part, which is just the DAO. This is essentially the DAO contract. The only thing we do is we put in a proposal for how much we want, and then we'll get it back in WETH. And I'll videotape that tomorrow. But yeah, that's it for now.